From stories across the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nitya De Oliveira.
I'm Movin Hettiarachi and here are today's headlines. 4 members of the same family died from an earth slip in Devanagala. Around 200,000 persons have been affected by the inclement weather condition. It has been pointed out that there is no threat of burnt oil from the Subgascon refinery mixing in with the waters of the Kalani River. The World Food Organization praises the decision of the President to withdraw from the utilization of chemical fertilizer. 286 billion rupees have been allocated to control the corona pandemic and related public welfare activities. India gets ready to introduce a local vaccine which has not yet been approved internationally.
Now, in your top story this evening, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa reiterates that states worldwide should not hesitate to follow the required policies to safeguard human health. Now, the President made these remarks addressing the 48th Agro-Environmental Science Session of the United Nations Committee on World Food Security in Rome, Italy, through video technology. The conference was conducted last evening. The World Food Organization has commended President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the decision taken by Sri Lanka to completely withdraw from the cultivation of crops using chemical fertilizer. As a token of respect over Sri Lanka's decision, the organization invited President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to deliver the inaugural and special address of the annual session.
The government of Sri Lanka ban the import of artificial fertilizers, pesticides and weedicides. Our decision took into account broader ecological issues as well as significant public health concerns. Use of artificial fertilizers and agrochemicals has been associated with the rise of non-communicable diseases amongst the general public. They have also long been identified with high incidences of chronic illness in the heartland of Sri Lanka, where they have been overused for decades, largely due to aggressive marketing by the agrochemical lobby and a lack of education amongst farmers. It is estimated that nearly 80% of the nitrogen fertilizer used in Sri Lanka is wasted. Excess fertilizer contaminates the land and seeps into the groundwater. It worsens soil degradation and water pollution and increases greenhouse gas emissions. My government's decision to ban imports of artificial fertilizer, Sri Lanka's initiative, will inspire other governments to take similarly bold action for the betterment of their nations, their citizens, the health of our planet and for our future generations.
Chief Scientist Dr. Fergus L. Sinclair, issuing a communique on behalf of the organizing panel on World Food Security Conference, has appreciated the address of the Sri Lankan President. Quote, "I was deeply touched by your heroic statements and clarifications presented in this regard. The vitality of the inaugural address will not be restricted only to the agro-environmental science session, but to the agro-environmental science reports of the entire session. Your statements extend guidance for the implementation of the relevant measures. It would also lead for the implementation of national initiatives as well. The address is also being acknowledged as a preliminary step for the direction of a more sustainable food network based on agro-environmental scientific principles. It would also become an opportunity for an in-depth examination on climatic changes going beyond the perspectives on world food security. The Sri Lankan initiative would set an example to others as well to move along on more decisive and practical endeavours." End of quote.
Minister Udayagan Pillar says that there is absolutely no threat of burnt oil discharges of the Subgascon oil refinery mixing with the waters of Kalani River. He made these remarks upon engaging in an inspection tour in the areas where the waters was contaminated with oil residue. It has been earlier reported that the burnt oil flowed from the Subgascon oil refinery 2 days ago and it had mixed with the flood waters. It has also been pointed out that the waters polluted with burnt oil deposits has also found at several residences in Heyantudua and Valahena and on a road that lie across the area. The Authority for Prevention of Pollution of the Marine Environment, the Sri Lanka Navy and Coast Guard are jointly engaged in a program to remove the burnt oil in the affected areas.
Now, Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemant Herath has pointed out on the continuous and uninterrupted implementation of the COVID-19 control program amidst the prevailing heavy rainfall and flood situation. He has also elaborated on the manner to minimize the threat of COVID-19 affliction even under the inclement weather situation.
I would like to mention related to the current prevailing weather situation in the country. We know that there have been heavy rains reported in many parts of the country, especially in the northwestern part of the country, and the threat of floods, landslides, earth slips and other kind of disasters are reported, and the risk of having such incidents are also increased. And I would like to urge the public that we need to get ourselves evacuated to safety locations as early as possible if such risk is there, especially if such risk is communicated to you all, because we have already made arrangements to look after the people who will be taken into safety locations in the light of this COVID pandemic, so that additional measures have been taken to look after them, especially to reduce the number of inmates in a given safety location. And also we have already identified the safety locations to which people from different locations need to be evacuated, and also we have already identified the place to which families or persons who are under quarantine need to be evacuated, and also how to transport or evacuate COVID positive patients. However, all these measures can be done basically with the limited resources available. So therefore, it is very important to go to a safe place as early as possible when such warning is given, so that there will be no last minute type of complications that might arise as a result of late evacuation or that type of situation which is common in normal situations.
Now, in the meantime, the Disaster Management Center says that 6 persons have been killed in earth slips and flood-related incidents in the island. 5 persons remain missing. It further says that more than 180,000 persons have been affected by the inclement weather conditions. 4 members of the same family were killed in an earth slip that occurred near the Devanagala Viharasthana in Mavanala at dawn today. The victims were 57-year-old father, 53-year-old mother, 34-year-old son and 23-year-old daughter. The bodies were unearthed in a search operation jointly conducted by the 611 Brigade of the 8th Single Regiment of the Sri Lanka Army and residents. Another person was reported killed in an earth slip at the Madagama Kanda in Algama Varakapola. Our correspondent says 3 other persons in the residence that have been subjected to the earth slip have managed to save their lives. The victim was a 72-year-old male. Minister Rohit Abegunawardena and State Minister P.L. Nishantha were engaged in an inspection tour in the Palin, the Nuwara, Yakupitiya and Polkirimulla. It has been subjected to earth slips yesterday. 2 houses in the Yakupitiya Grama Seva division have been fully damaged and the other house partially damaged. 9 affected families are being temporarily relocated at the Sri Chandra Vimala Primary School in Yakupitiya. Many rural roads were inundated due to the overflowing of the Ranvaloya, which flows across the Kegal town. Electricity and telephone cables have been damaged due to the falling of rock mounts on the Kegal alternate road. Many low-lying lands have been inundated due to the rise in water levels of the Kukuleganga, Kudaganga and Kaluganga as a result of 3 days of rainfall. Officers of the Police Naval Division have taken measures to rescue people trapped due to floods in several locations in Anguruwa Tota. A strong gale that flew across the Maddegedere in Matugama around 1:30 a.m. yesterday has partially destroyed a house. A mother and daughter in the house injured by the incident have been admitted to the Katugahena hospital. Several areas of the Gampa town have also come under water due to the overflowing of the Attanagalu Oya and Uruluval Oya. As a result, vehicle transport on the Gampaha Jaila, Ganemulla and Gampaha Minuangada roads have been obstructed. A boat service has also been conducted to rescue people cornered by the floods. Our correspondent says many roads and lowlands in the Sitavaka Divisional Secretariat have also been inundated due to the overflowing of the Kalani Ganga. 1,059 persons in 22 families have been affected. 824 victims have been directed to temporary detention camps, including the one located at the Mayaduna school in Hangvalla. The Department of Irrigation warns that the flood situation affecting the low-lying areas in the Kalani River Valley may worsen within the next 18 hours. The upper catchment areas of the river have received a rainfall of nearly 125 millimeters until this morning. According to measurements of the water levels of the Kalani Ganga, the water level in Hangvalla has reached 9 meters and the water level at the Nagalagam Street increased to 6.6 feet. The Department of Irrigation further informs that flood waters may increase in the Divisional Secretariat divisions of Dehiyowata, Ruwanwala, Sitavaka, Dumpe, Homagama, Kaduwela, Biyagama, Kolonava, Colombo and Wattala. A Bell 212 helicopter of the Sri Lanka Air Force has monitored the flood-stricken major rivers and the waterways in Matugama, Dodangoda, Agalavatta and Badureliya in the Kaluthara district today. Many low-lying areas in the river valley in Colombo, Vallampitiya, Kolonava, Kalanimulla and Sedavatta have also been inundated. The affected residents have been relocated into safer areas. Many low-lying areas and roads in the Dumpe Divisional Secretariat Division have also come under water. The Paralama junction on the Nittambua Hangvalla road have been covered with 3 feet high of water, thereby road transport has come to a complete standstill. Several roads in the Boyavalana Kudagamana on the Alawa Giriulla main road have been inundated, making obstructions to vehicle traffic. Several low-lying lands in the Mayo Valley have also been inundated. The Chaitya at the Sri Bodhidharmana Purana Viharasthane in Koongahagedera, Kulyapiti has collapsed as a result of heavy rainfall last night. Police have deployed protection to safeguard the archaeological artifacts of the Chaitya. 16 relief teams of the Sri Lankan Navy, including Naval Immediate Instant Response Teams and the Rescue Unit, have been deployed to provide instant relief to those affected by the floods. Accordingly, lives of 29 persons in the Putlam district have been rescued. The Navy has also rescued 66 persons from the floods in the Gampaha and Kaluthara districts. The district and divisional secretariats as well as the Disaster Management Centre has made arrangements to provide cooked food to those displaced by the floods in the Putlam district today. 4 sluice gates of the Pogala Reservoir have been opened last night. Another sluice gate of the Kotmale Reservoir was also opened last night.
State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana says that Sri Lanka is scheduled to receive tomorrow 1 million doses of the Sinopharm vaccine manufactured in China. Meanwhile, it has also been pointed out COVID immunization vaccination program has been carried out successfully in 9 districts today as well. Accordingly, 39,444 persons have been vaccinated yesterday. The second dose of the COVID Shield vaccine has been delivered to 501 persons, while 38,943 persons were inoculated with the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine yesterday. Health sources say that so far, 2,272,262 persons have been vaccinated under the COVID-19 immunization program. First dose of the COVID Shield vaccine has been delivered to 925,242 persons. The second dose of the same vaccine has been given to 351,459 persons. The first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine has also been administered on 930,573 persons, and first dose of the Sputnik V vaccine has been given to 64,986 persons. Minister Namal Rajapaksa says 5 centres will be established for those in the Colombo municipal limits who have not yet been vaccinated. The minister has made these remarks following a discussion at Temple Trees recently regarding the provision of the second dose of the COVID vaccine. He has also proposed to remain open vaccination centres till 10 o'clock at night. A discussion pertaining to the systematic and effective implementation of the national vaccine programme of the joint collaboration of state ministries was conducted at Temple Trees, presided over by Minister Namal Rajapaksa. Have been inquired from state ministers regarding the manner of the vaccination program is currently being implemented. Minister Namal Rajapaksa clarified on how all should be incorporated in the vaccination program. 2,280 COVID-19 patients were detected in the country today. Meanwhile, 1,851 patients left the hospitals today following recovery. Accordingly, the total recoveries in the country has increased up to a total of 166,132. 33,756 COVID-19 patients are still receiving treatment at hospitals. The Director General of the Health Services has confirmed 48 COVID-related deaths from the 11th of last month up to the 3rd of this month. Accordingly, total number of deaths has been increased to 1,656. Despite the fact that labour offices belonging to the Department of Labour's remain closed, people have been accorded the opportunity to forward any written complaints or written inquiry pertaining to labour laws to the website www.labourdepartment.gov.lk or through distance communication media. The queries could also be presented to official Facebook account or Twitter account or through telephone or Department Labour. In addition, the complaints of the employees of the trade zones could be informed to Sri Lanka Board of Investments to facilitate the conducting of surveys on the reporting of duties in the employees of the trade zones. Talks have also been conducted regarding the extending of the deadline on provision of relief to private sector pertaining to the payment of salaries till the 31st of December this year. An X-ray machine, oxygen machine and other items valued at 15 million rupees have been handed over to the COVID-19 treatment centre in Metsiri Savana in Anuradhapura. An oxygen machine manufactured by Sri Lanka Air Force was donated to the COVID-19 treatment unit at Gampaha District General Hospital. Several essential equipment has also been provided for the COVID-19 treatment unit in Gampaha Hospital by officials of the Gampaha Divisional Secretariat Division. A van following a vehicle that was carrying the body of a COVID-19 victim to Batiklo from Hatton has fallen into a precipice, killing the OIC in charge of a minor complaint of the Hatton police station. 2 police officials, the driver, several relatives of the dead patient who were injured in the accident have been admitted to Vatawala Hospital. "975 persons who have failed to follow the health guidelines have been arrested in the 24 hours ended at 6 a.m. today.
Now back home, the program to provide the 5,000 rupee allowance to the people who have been deprived of their income due to the imposition of the travel restrictions is currently being implemented successfully throughout the island. The program commenced on the 2nd of this month. Provision of the 5,000 rupee allowance to the Samurdhi beneficiaries in all 64 Grama Niladhari divisions in the Valimada Divisional Secretariat Division is underway. The payments were handed over to the residences of senior citizens among the Samurdhi recipients. 200 Samurdhi beneficiaries in the Suryapura village in the Kantale Divisional Secretariat Division have received the 5,000 rupee allowance yesterday. Payments have also been made to the bhikkhus in the Viharasthaniyas of the area. The 5,000 rupee allowance has been provided to 21,500 families in the Tamankadua Divisional Secretariat Division in Polonnaruwa. Parliamentarian Amara Kirti Athukorala has also participated in the program. The handing over of the 5,000 rupee allowance to Samurdhi beneficiaries in the Moratua Divisional Secretariat Division concluded yesterday. A total amount of 29,205,000 rupees was distributed among 5,841 recipients. A distribution program of the 5,000 rupee allowance was also conducted at the Madina Muslim College in Madavala in the Kandy district yesterday.
Minister Dr. Kehelia Rambukmalla says that the government has already allocated a sum of 286 billion rupees for controlling the COVID pandemic as well as for related welfare measures of the people. He has made these remarks after a discussion on COVID control and the people's welfare in the Central Province today. Minister Dr. Kehelia Rambukmalla has inquired whether there is any country which says that they are working towards a specific framework after taking into consideration the world situation. The minister added that they are able to analyze on tomorrow's program based on the findings of the today's program. He further said that the attention of the entire world has now been focused on an emerging new viral strain in Vietnam. Therefore, we are unable to work within the definite framework. That is why committees and task force are being set up. Minister further said a decision is to be taken whether travel restrictions should be extended beyond the 14th of this month. If that happens, we have to make evaluations on the food availabilities and those who are able to subjected to difficulties. The minister further said so far a sum of 35 billion rupees has been set aside for the program, adding that it is the funds of the treasury that are being used for whatever programs being carried out on this occasion. Meanwhile, the Ceylon Sugar Company says that they are able to accumulate annually a profit of 250 million rupees due to halting of usage of chemical fertilizer. Executive Director of the company, Gamini Rasaputra, says that the profits will be utilized for setting up an organic fertilizer manufacturing plant. Raw material is to be used in the organic fertilizer yard are being diffused and carried discarded byproducts of the factory. State Minister Janaka Vakumbara has inspected the new compost yard of the sugar company in Sevenagala. Farmers in Polonnaruwa district have also commenced their paddy cultivation in the Yala season by utilizing organic fertilizer. An island-wide campaign is being implemented on application of organic fertilizer under the theme "Let's prepare ourselves for a paddy cultivation devoid of poisonous material." The Kusumpokuna Farmers Organization in Madirgiri Divisional Secretariat Division has commenced paddy cultivation using organic fertilizer an extent of 40 acres of land. State Minister Rohan Ranasinghe has presided over the ceremony yesterday on the application of organic liquid fertilizer for paddy cultivation. The liquid fertilizer has been produced using fish waste product. That's it for tonight's English News Update. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.